In the highlands of West Java, a long time ago, there lived a beautiful princess named Dayang Sumbi. She was the daughter of a great king, but she chose to live a quiet life away from the palace. She found a small hut deep within the forest where she could spend her days in peace and solitude. Dayang Sumbi was very skilled at weaving. She would sit by her loom for hours, creating beautiful fabrics with intricate patterns. The sounds of the forest were her only companions, and the rustling leaves and chirping birds were her daily music. She was content with a simple existence, far from the complexities and duties of royal life. One day, while she was weaving on her porch, her shuttle, a tool used for weaving, fell to the ground. She felt too tired to go down and get it herself. Lazily, she made a promise out loud to anyone who could hear. She said, "Whoever brings my shuttle back to me, if you are a woman, I will take you as my sister. If you are a man, I will marry you." She did not think anyone would actually hear her words, as she believed she was completely alone in that remote part of the forest. It was a thoughtless vow, a simple wish spoken into the empty air, but one that would change her life forever. To her great surprise, a dog suddenly appeared with the shuttle in its mouth. The dog was named Tumang. He was no ordinary animal. He was a divine being who had been cursed to live in the form of a dog. He gently placed the shuttle at Dayang Sumbi's feet. The princess was shocked, but she was a woman of her word. She knew she had to keep her promise, no matter how strange the circumstances were. She accepted Tumang as her husband, and from that day on, he became her loyal and protective companion in the quiet of the forest. Dayang Sumbi and Tumang lived together, and soon, she gave birth to a healthy baby boy. She named him Sangkuriang. The boy was strong and handsome, and he grew up to be a skilled hunter. Dayang Sumbi never told her son that the faithful dog, Tumang, who was always by his side, was actually his father. To Sangkuriang, Tumang was just a loyal pet and a helpful hunting companion. The three of them formed a small, unusual family, living a peaceful life hidden away from the rest of the world, unaware of the destiny that awaited them. As Sangkuriang grew into a young man, his love for hunting became his greatest passion. He would venture deep into the forest every day, always accompanied by the ever-faithful Tumang. One morning, Dayang Sumbi had a special request for her son. She was craving deer liver and asked Sangkuriang to hunt a deer for her. Eager to please his mother, Sangkuriang immediately set off into the woods with his bow, arrows, and his loyal dog, Tumang. He was confident he would return quickly with the prize his mother desired, ready to make her happy with his hunting skills. Sangkuriang searched the forest for hours, but strangely, he could not find a single deer. The woods seemed empty and quiet. Frustrated and tired, he started to lose his patience. He spotted a wild pig and ordered Tumang to chase it, but Tumang, for some unknown reason, refused to obey his command. The dog simply stood still, ignoring Sangkuriang's repeated shouts. This was highly unusual, as Tumang was always an obedient and eager hunting partner. Sangkuriang's frustration grew into a fierce anger. He could not understand why his dog was being so disobedient on this important day. In his blind rage, Sangkuriang did something terrible. He took out his arrow, aimed it at Tumang, and killed his loyal companion. Still desperate to bring something home for his mother, he then took the dog's liver and carried it back to the hut. He did not feel any remorse at that moment, only the need to fulfill his mother's request and hide his failure to find a deer. He presented the liver to Dayang Sumbi, telling her it was from a deer he had successfully hunted. He thought his secret was safe, and his mother would be pleased with his offering. Dayang Sumbi, unaware of the tragic event, cooked the liver and ate it. Later, when she called for Tumang, and he did not appear, she began to worry. She asked Sangkuriang where the dog was. At first, he tried to avoid the question, but eventually, he confessed the truth. He told her how he had killed Tumang out of anger and brought his liver home instead. Dayang Sumbi was overcome with horror and grief. She was not just sad about her pet, she was devastated because Sangkuriang had killed his own father. In her fury, she struck Sangkuriang on the head with a large wooden spoon, leaving a deep scar. Then, heartbroken and angry, she cast him out of her home and told him never to return. Years passed, and Sangkuriang wandered the world alone. He grew into a powerful and handsome man, having gained much knowledge and magical powers during his long journey. The memory of his mother and the incident with Tumang had faded, and he had no recollection of his childhood home. Thanks to the gods, Dayang Sumbi was granted eternal youth and beauty, so she never aged. She remained as lovely as she had been the day she sent her son away. She continued to live her solitary life in the forest, forever mourning the loss of her husband and the son she had banished from her life. One day, Sangkuriang's travels brought him back to the very forest where he was born. He did not recognize the place at all. There, he saw a beautiful woman living in a small hut and was instantly captivated by her grace. This woman was, of course, Dayang Sumbi. Neither of them recognized the other. Sangkuriang saw a stunning young woman, not the mother he vaguely remembered, and Dayang Sumbi saw a charming stranger, not the boy she had struck with a spoon so many years ago. They began to talk and quickly fell in love, drawn together by a powerful, unseen force. Sangkuriang, completely enchanted, soon asked Dayang Sumbi to marry him. She felt a deep connection to the handsome stranger and accepted his proposal. Their love seemed destined, a perfect match found in the seclusion of the forest. They began to plan their future together, happy in their newfound companionship. However, their happiness was not meant to last. Destiny had a cruel twist in store for them, one that would soon reveal the terrible truth of their identities and turn their love into a horrifying realization that they were on the verge of a great taboo. One afternoon, as Dayang Sumbi was gently stroking Sangkuriang's hair, she noticed a prominent scar on his forehead. Suddenly, a cold wave of recognition washed over her. It was the same scar she had inflicted on her own son years ago with her wooden spoon. She realized with absolute horror that the man she had promised to marry was her own son, Sangkuriang. She immediately told him the truth, explaining that she was his mother and that a marriage between them was impossible. But Sangkuriang, blinded by love, refused to believe her. He thought she was just making up an excuse to avoid marrying him. Desperate to prevent the unnatural marriage, Dayang Sumbi knew she could not simply refuse Sangkuriang, as his power and determination were immense. Instead, she decided to give him an impossible task, one she was certain he could never complete. She told him, "I will marry you, but only if you can build a massive lake and a large boat for us to sail in, and you must finish it all in a single night, before the rooster crows at dawn." Sangkuriang, confident in his magical abilities, readily accepted the challenge. He saw it not as an obstacle, but as a chance to prove the depth of his love for her. Sangkuriang immediately set to work. He summoned spirits and supernatural beings from the earth to help him. With their assistance, he dammed the Sitaram River, and a vast lake began to form in the valley. Then he chose a huge tree and with incredible speed started carving it into a magnificent boat. Dayang Sumbi watched from a distance, her heart filled with dread as she saw the impossible task nearing completion. The lake was almost full, and the boat was taking shape much faster than she had ever imagined possible. She knew she had to act quickly or her plan would fail. Thinking fast, Dayang Sumbi devised a clever trick. She went to her neighbors and asked them to light torches in the east, creating a false dawn. She also took her long, shimmering shawl and waved it in the air, making it look like the first rays of sunlight were breaking over the horizon. The roosters, fooled by the bright lights, began to crow loudly, signaling the start of a new day. The spirits helping Sangkuriang saw the fake dawn and heard the roosters, and believing their time was up, they vanished back into the earth, leaving the work unfinished. Sangkuriang was furious. He was just moments away from completing the boat when he was deceived by what he thought was the rising sun. Realizing he had failed the challenge, he was consumed by a volcanic rage. In his anger, he kicked the enormous, nearly finished boat with all his might. The boat flew through the air and landed upside down, instantly transforming into a massive mountain. To this day, that mountain is known as Tangkuban Perahu, which means upturned boat in the Sundanese language. The legend serves as a powerful reminder of the consequences of anger and the importance of honoring one's parents.